What's up, everybody? I swear to God, one of these days I'm not going to have to do this message before the show. But we had some technical difficulties. I fucked up the sound, so Mike's audio is really, really quiet, and mine is really, really loud. So if you're a big Mike guy and not a big me guy, maybe skip this one. No, I won't say that. But we're figuring it out. It's going to get better. I hope everyone is staying safe, staying inside, and washing your hands. Enjoy the show. This is Hot Little Takes.
This machine kills
fascists.
I do the music first. It kind of rolls in, so this is okay. This is actually always a fine way to start.
That's fine.
It's always a fine way to start with you, man. We're back. Hey,
everyone.
2 episodes in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Like we mean it.
Thanks for catching up. I know a lot of you have been listening to old episodes for the first time. And if you have any thoughts, now you can communicate them with us.
That's right, Mike. Tell them where to do that.
On Instagram at Hot Little Takes.
And on Twitter at Hot Little Takes.
That's right. And on Twitter, which I wouldn't know.
Yeah, that's true. Doesn't matter.
But you can also email us your thoughts and feelings.
At the Hot Little Mailbag at AOL.com.
Hot Little Mailbag at AOL.com. Okay, good. We remembered to promote that stuff.
Fuck yes.
That was the goal. So Christian and I have been watching a lot of stuff. Been taking in a lot of things.
We have. It's actually been a pretty good. It's been a good turn for TV and film podcasts right now. It was actually a pretty good week. I feel really embarrassed that I put up a Hulu watch list that did not include Parasite or Portrait of a Lady on Fire because they both came on Hulu like right after we did that stuff. But what are you gonna do?
We can put up more lists.
Yeah, we're gonna do more lists. There's gonna be more stuff. Follow us on the things. Participate.
Yeah. I know we're so involved now. We're not like on a little rock, but now that for the first time we're literally trapped in kind of
Yeah.
on a little rock. People can communicate with us.
And I would encourage people to engage and to listen to the episodes in the next couple of weeks, because we're really gonna turn a corner here. We're gonna have some guests. I'm not gonna announce any of them yet, but we have at least
nailed any of them down yet.
We've got 3 to 4 kind of lined up here, ready to go, and they're all They're all gonna be vastly different TV streaming related topics.
Yeah. I think we finally have an opportunity to take this podcast to 2.0. Do you remember when the video games and everything like
when 2.0 was a thing?
Yeah, everything 1998, 1999, like it's suddenly like 3K. I mean, they still do that shit, but
right. I think Pornhub does a lot of the 4K. In 4K. Wow, everyone knew that.
Extreme 2000. That was like my childhood, like being in like middle school in the late 90s.
That's right, everybody. Mike was in middle school in the late 90s.
Yeah. That makes me like ancient now.
The elder millennial.
An elder millennial. Yeah. I carry all the secrets.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've forgotten them and lost them, and they're like just lying around somewhere. But I carry them.
So another surprise, I think for you and for listeners, is that I actually prepared kind of a docket for us today to move through.
I'd even to kind of have a little more structure, and then we got really happy being loosey-goosey.
Yeah, and maybe we've suffered for it, but I've got a couple topics that I think that we can mutually hit. Some other stuff. I even have a little game in here for you and I to play at some point.
Good, man. That's the kind of shit we should do. Extreme 2000.
2.0, hot little takes.
Podcast 2.0. Playing games now, kids.
And the first, and this isn't on my docket because I prepared all this stuff yesterday. But something that happened this morning that I wasn't really ready to talk about, but I guess we should say a couple words. R.I.P. to the big dog Brian Dennehy.
Yeah, Brian Dennehy died today, and I was like, "Fuck, man." You got the chance to meet the man because he came here for a prologue here at Humboldt, Colorado Springs.
I actually had I don't know if I need to do the entire story here, but my Brian Dennehy kind of, he touched me. He gave me he did a huge favor for me and actually kind of shifted the way that my life was at a certain point in 2014, early 2015. And
he liked you because you were Irish.
That was part of it. So I may as well just do some of the story. When I was this was like in the nebulous period of my undergraduate career where I was like just aggressively not pursuing my degree. I was maybe attending one class and then not going to 4 classes, and I thought I was like the hottest shit in the universe. I had like booked a commercial at that point, so I figured that I was like on my path to stardom. And he came to this was like years after I was supposed to graduate. I was like a 5th year senior, 3rd year senior, 4th, whatever. He came to our school to do a workshop with the students and to do what they call a prologue. It's like kind of a talk show with the head of our department for the...
It's like Inside the Actors Studio.
Yeah. It's like that they were doing for the regional company that was on our campus. And I showed up to that thing kind of hungover, just wanting to, like, see that dude. Because I love Dennehy. Summer Catch, Body of an Architect, fucking Tommy Boy. Dennehy was a gamer. He's a beast. And he comes...
One of the headlines I saw called him Burly Actor.
That is exactly what you want when you die.
Burly actor, Brian Dennehy.
Oh my god. So burly, but, like, he was so into the sensitive beauty of the work, which is why he was just such a fucking cool guy.
Yeah, he's a theater guy.
He was a real true Chicago theater guy. But anyway, we do this, and I wasn't even gonna get up and do pieces for him, mainly because so these master classes usually work. They'll bring someone in and who's of some recognition, and they look at kids' monologues or they look at a scene or something, and they are predominantly positive, and then we'll like have like the sprinkled nitpicks in there. Dennehy was just like annihilating people. Like if he thought your shit was garbage, he was like, you don't even know where you're going. Like you don't even know what you're talking about. And I was like, holy shit.
Make me believe it.
He was and he was so funny, but he was fucking hard about it. And I got up to do my stuff, and he was like really, really, really kind about my stuff, and he hooked me up with an audition in Chicago that I actually didn't need I could have just signed up for that audition. Like, looking back on it, I was just such a fucking huckleberry, I had no idea. But he got me hooked up with it. He even, like, called me from his house in Connecticut and kind of bullshitted with me for a second and was like, yeah, they're expecting your audition. And I went, and I blew it, and I didn't get it, and I never talked to him again. And I really regret that. I wish that I had at least, put out one. I also got to have dinner with him the next night over at our old professor's house with King Murray and Drew and he was so cool. He was just telling stories about like getting drunk with Christopher Plummer and how he used to like sweep the floors at this jazz club and like the fucking that would have to have been like the mid-50s or something like that.
Man.
Fuck, he was a fucking.
You and I love those. You and I love those kind of like old drunk actor stories.
Oh my god, they're my most favorite. My very most favorite.
We could like tell some funny stories that old guys that we know have told us, and like maybe not blow their cover. We've heard some wild tales.
We could blow their cover on here. I don't think that anyone who listens to this would care.
Yeah, that might be true.
But
they told us pretty brazenly, you know.
Sure. But anyway, I just wanted to make sure we said some words about the big dog because that guy is cool and.
Yeah, man, and he's one of those, you know, he'll be one of those kind of inspirational guardian angels for us.
I'd like to think so. The one thing I do remember him because I kind of blacked out in some of those moments when he was just being so overly kind to me about my pieces, but when I got up there and I said my name, he goes, O'Shaughnessy, Jesus fucking Christ, kid. This is the most Mick fucking name I've ever heard in my life. That's gonna take more lights. It's gonna take more lights to light up your name than it does mine. He was cool, man. The guy was a fucking bear and he was cool.
We should, I just actually watched like a thing on Tommy Boy. It's like on YouTube or something. That's such a fucking great movie.
Tommy Boy is one of the best comedies of all time.
If we actually just start doing straight movie reviews, we could spend a half an hour. I'll bring all sorts of research and shit.
Oh, sure. Tommy Boy's fucking good. All right. Well, I mean, I just wanted to make sure. I mean, everyone pour one out for the big guy.
Yeah. Let's cheers to Dennehy.
Clink and drink.
As fellow mix, you know. My brother's got a pretty Irish name. His name's Patrick Lee.
Patrick Lee is pretty tough. Anyway.
You know, despite the passing of Dennehy, and kind of like in remembrance of him almost, Fiona Apple's 8-year in the making album.
That's right.
Come out. And
That's
most
right.
of the songs you can listen to right now, I've listened to a bunch of them on YouTube in the last.
I haven't listened to any of these yet. I was kind of waiting for it to be out tomorrow, but give us your early read.
I sent you one like right before we started.
Yeah.
And it's like oddly great timing for like the album is called Fetch the Bolt Cutters.
Yep.
And I told you the refrain is like something about get me out of here or whatever. Like it's gonna strike a great chord for the way people are feeling right now.
Yes.
Her whole vibe is already like this kind of I don't know. That like that 90s angst that is gonna find a voice right now. Like she's gonna find a bunch of new fans and like young.
Oh, of course.
Kids who are like, who is this chick? And they're gonna be like, she's been around for a while, man.
Right, like you're in for such a sweet surprise.
Right. Yeah. Go back. You have some stuff to listen to. Yeah, I like Fiona Apple a lot.
Me too. And I think when we come back next week and I've been able to listen to it and we can digest it, we should definitely jump into that a little bit more.
It'd be nice if we did more music on this thing. I'm sure there's plenty of fans of ours who would like to hear our takes on some of that stuff.
Sure. You and I we're not complete. We are less aligned on music than we are on other things.
No, but I think
especially with new music, it's tough to find a new record.
That like helps us balance stuff out because we know about some stuff that the other one might not.
Sure,
we
that's
both
true.
We both have pretty eclectic tastes.
I would like to think of us as nothing less than eclectic, Mike.
I think I am an eclectic eccentric.
Sure.
And and pretentious too.
You're pretentious, you know that? I like that.
Yeah, I like that.
Speaking of pretension, I know, and listeners of the pod will know, that Mike was a once disgraced intellectual, having fallen asleep during Parasite. But last night, through the grace of Hulu, Mike revisited the 4 Oscar award-winning Parasite.
I did. I watched Parasite beginning to end. I didn't blink.
It was a Clockwork Orange situation.
Yeah. I think it's cool because a lot of people are finally seeing it that didn't see it before.
Yeah, absolutely.
Those Oscar movies, there's like a huge portion of the population that are just like, maybe someday I'll see it. I'll see which one shakes out to win. I'm not gonna go see them all and then do my little, do what you do, where you're like, I'm gonna see all of them. I'm gonna make my bets.
Right. And because then someone who doesn't see those is like, I guess The Artist was the best movie.
Yeah, I'll listen to the Academy and I'll watch that one that they told me to watch.
Yeah, and it's like, that is such a bad survey of film. But anyway.
But a lot of people are, I think this is a good time for us to be talking about it because a lot of people are probably seeing it for the first time now too. It was weird for me to watch it. I told you because it was like having deja vu because I woke up at several points in the movie when people were screaming and shit was going down.
Right.
I kind of remembered like bullet points of the plot.
Right.
But I didn't have all of these like informational filler. So it was a very strange experience, man.
That's actually an experience that you could probably recommend to people in quarantine who can go in and out of Parasite once and then rewatch it a week later because you have that ability now.
Like drink a bunch of NyQuil and watch it the first time, and then like do some Adderall and watch it the second time. I'm just kidding. I was just a little stoned when I watched it.
Sure.
I was seriously surprised that I was able to fall asleep because it's like hard to not. Once you get on board for that thing, it's like it doesn't really let up.
Yeah.
Stakes get crazier and crazier.
Yeah.
They build up from like these little lies and little tricks to suddenly they're like poisoning people. That was a plot point that I was like, that hits a new chord now, like about her having tuberculosis, and then don't tell the husband that we had this sick person in the house. Like,
right.
I think over there they've been a lot more acclimated to this than we have.
You in Korea, yeah.
Because we're privileged Westerners.
Sure.
I love this movie though. And I love that they're up front, like when they get the rock, they're like, oh, it's like a metaphor.
Yeah.
Like
it's very metaphorical.
Everything in this movie is metaphorical. It like doesn't really, and it's like barely metaphorical. You're like, they're poor and they're rich. And this is about classes.
Right. I know. Right? I know. I love that. He has such a masterful touch over that whole thing.
It felt like a fable or like a fairy tale that.
Yeah, I agree.
Where it was like very simple, kind of simplified these abstractions into their, like a Picasso sketch of a horse.
yeah, right. The idea
like,
of a horse,
This is like Das Kapital for dummies.
That's great. In all of the Parasite criticism I've looked at, I think that might be some of the most astute.
Yeah, I don't know. We can get into more of the actual plot of the thing, or your thoughts. What do you?
It's been, I haven't seen it since the time that you and I went, which is my second time, but I remember watching it when I went with you. Just how lovely that screenplay is. I mean, like, truly just the words on the screen. And the first time you see it, when you're just trying to, like, adjust your pace to the story, you kind of lose some of the lines. But, like, when I kind of knew where things were going, just the way the thing is written and the way that they communicate, I found so, I don't know, so beautiful. But the scene that I was thinking about last night when you were telling me that you were watching it was all of the scenes of their preparation in their scam on the house. Like when the sun is yeah. And how sort of flat and insincere that that kind of device could be in a lot of things, where it's like where you're really just playing it for laughs, that they're rehearsing and that he's obviously just knocking down every point with it, but the earnestness with which the desperation with they are doing it.
Yeah, the stakes are always there, even when it is goofy and kind of weird.
Yeah, exactly, and all of the whole the poor. I wish I could remember. I know that the Parks are the rich family. I can't remember the name of the poor family, but their general rapport has a joy in it, even in all of its.
Yeah, they're like they become such protagonists in a way, because you're kind of like, oh, they're doing shady things, but you're rooting for them, because they're the ones you're really following.
Well, and I think it's a good yardstick by which to measure your position on the class war and wherever you live. I think that if you take to the poor family pretty quickly, then it says a lot.
I think, yeah, the daughter was like my favorite one.
Sodam Park, I think, is her name. She's so good.
She's fucking hilarious.
I'm Jessica from I'm doing the yeah, I'm doing the fingers to Mike right now. He knows, everyone knows. Such a great scene. Such a great performance. Doesn't she kind of remind you of Shiv? A little bit.
Yeah, but she's like the one who's just kind of running the show almost for a while. It felt like.
Not dissimilar to Shiv.
The dynamic in that family, in all of those characters, is like really great. They build out kind of the relationships that everyone has to each other, and that's what affects everything, And I know there's been a million discussions already about how it's like the rich pitting the poor against the poor, and it's like obviously that's what it's about. Like and it's great that it's like
it's not metaphorical.
It's fucking crazy that it's like really hitting such a chord here, because we like to think,
yeah,
America's got it so great, and clearly our system is, kind of a facade.
Right.
A lot of people felt like they knew, but a lot of people are seeing for the first time now. But I was reading about how Parasite was just in response to how there's all these educated people who can't get jobs and can't get houses, and
right.
That's kind of what he wrote it in response to.
Probably the best picture winner. I was gonna say in the decade, but I guess Moonlight won in 17.
I was reading that they're those houses were sets, and they're refurbishing these.
Can you not believe that?
It's so successful, they're turning them into tourist attractions. And people are already saying like these real neighborhoods that they filmed in are being exploited. Like they're now it's like becoming capitalized upon.
Whoa.
And the irony of that, it's like buying a Che Guevara T-shirt or whatever.
Right. Yeah, it's very similar to that.
that classic thing. Some friend of mine once was like, "You should get a Karl Marx T-shirt." And I was like, "Karl Marx would hate to see his face on a T-shirt, man." Like, there's an irony to that.
Yep.
Is a thing. I wouldn't wear a Karl Marx T-shirt in this day and age, anyway.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I suppose you're inviting a conversation.
Yeah, that's like me as an edgy teenager.
You do still have a good Soviet Union shirt, if I recall.
I do have chips on my shoulder. I am still a little bit like a edgy teenager in some ways.
Aren't we all?
Aren't we all?
Well, I think we need to take a little battery snooze.
Alright.
But we'll be right back.
We got some cool stuff still to talk about, though.
Yeah, we got Mrs. America, we got Run, we got my little game that we're going to do.
Oh, yeah.
I also have there's one more surprise in here actually for you that is
Oh yeah, you have a surprise.
I do.
You've been building it up and building it up.
Well, really, we can just talk about this when we get there. All right, take a little break. It's how little takes, baby. You're not gonna need a goddamn machete. That's God. I can't believe that's what we're leading back in with. We just fucked up. We just fucked up recording, and then I fixed it, and now Mike's pulling out this old rusty blade.
Well, I found like I said, I found the old machete. Gives me something to do.
The old family machete. Jesus Christ.
The old Lee family machete. Back in my possession.
All right. Well, we're back. Mike, what direction do you want to go here? We've got a couple shows that we want to talk about. I got a little game. I have kind of the book club surprise I spoiled for you on the break.
I don't exactly know what the book club surprise is.
Well, here's the book club surprise, because I know that we talked about doing this initially when we started doing the podcast. We were going to do this because we were both typically avid book readers.
Yeah, we like to claim we are.
But the one book that I have been able to pick up and read the first, 16 to 18 pages of is James Crumley's Bordersnakes, which I know that you at one point also, I think, read the first 10 pages and then got distracted. But this is a book by the guy that we talked about before with The Last Good Kiss, who's so good. I've read some of it. I've read more of the Milo Mildragovich books. I read The Dancing Bear.
The only one I read already was
the Shagru book, The Last Good Kiss.
The Last Good Kiss.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've been sitting on Bordersnakes. We can read that.
Do you want to try that? We can take it at an easy pace. I mean, like I said, I think I
man, I might get into it and read it in like a day if I like it.
It's pretty good. He's one of the only authors that everything I've picked up I finished.
Yeah. And that's like, we've talked about how much we like that genre, but they're entertaining books to read. That's
right. And that,
you don't necessarily you want to finish it. You're not feeling obligated to it.
Yeah, exactly. And so just for anyone out there who wants to play book club, Mike and I are going to be looking into Bordersnakes. And we might do that.
Bordersnakes by James Crumley. Which is the first book featuring both of his detectives?
It's the only book feature. I actually think that it completes. I think that no, that's not true. I think that there's another Shagru book after this one. But
this is the end of the Milo Dragovich cycle.
I think so. I might be wrong though.
I haven't read the other ones, but I'm sure it won't make a huge.
Oh my God, are you still there?
Yeah, but it says my connection is unstable, and you just turned into a glitch for a minute.
Oh no, that happens.
Man.
Oh
but
shit.
Okay, we seem to be okay now. I just patiently waited it out.
Okay. It
sounds. We seem to be back on track.
Okay.
It sounds okay.
I think we are on track.
Okay, so let's read Bordersnakes. That's great. That gives me something to do, man.
Great.
That's what I need right now in my life.
There you go. Book club, people. Bordersnakes by James Crumley. I think it's only like 360. It's not a huge book. And the stories are fun, and he he does that great author thing where they will put a little space between two different paragraphs that are different chunks, so it gives you a lot of places to stop. You can pick it up and put it back down and pick it up and put it back down and get to, and, you know, move on at your own pace.
Sure.
Good stuff.
Someone told me they tried to play a drinking game where they drank every time we said sure, and they quickly realized it would be impossible.
While they listen to the show?
Sure.
Wow. Yeah, that'd fuck you up.
That'll do it.
Sure.
I got a recommendation for people. I just discovered Baroness von Sketch, which I guess has been on for like 4 years, but I'm late to the game.
Right.
Sketch show with middle-aged women, or women in their late 30s, early 40s, I'd say. You know. And it's pretty fucking funny. I was watching like all of those on YouTube. I'm sure they're on Hulu or something.
It's an IFC show, is that right?
Yeah, so I bet it's on Hulu or something like that.
I feel like IFC goes straight to somewhere. Who is on that show? Is there anyone in particular that you like know from other places?
No, I think that they are Canadian.
It's the new Kids in the Hall.
Yeah, well, Canadians are funny historically, in my experience. I've enjoyed Canadian comedy.
Mike says that because he's my best friend, and I'm Canadian.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you're Canadian.
People forget that.
That's why you're so polite all the time.
People forget that too all the time. All right. So we had two shows that we really came to discuss. Do you want to talk about those, or do you want to play my game?
Let's play the game.
Fuck yeah! All right. So
I'm super curious about this game.
It's nothing too.
It seems like a bigger surprise than the book club surprise.
It's nothing too wild. We were joking earlier about like what do you do? We were talking about newspaper people and radio people earlier, and like what do you do to fill the time? And it's like just either do top fives or do like instant reaction questions. And so I have some instant reaction questions that I want to get from you.
So this is like when you go to a therapist and they're like, I say apple and you say the first thing that comes to mind. To which I would say
yes. He wouldn't know what to say.
Well, I'm trying to censor myself. I was gonna say things that I probably shouldn't say on air.
Well, I don't think that'll happen here. So the game that I was gonna play is that I'm gonna give you the name of a show.
Okay.
And these are all shows that we've discussed, I think, at some point on the pod. And you tell me which character from that show you would want to be quarantined with.
Which character from the show I would want to be quarantined with?
Yeah.
Oh, this is great. This is like, we're playing games now.
Yeah, we're doing it. We're gonna go full shock jock here and just.
Okay, BuzzFeed presents.
Exactly. That's exactly what we're doing, and you can think about it, but like, let's just move through it.
Okay, let me grab another beer.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, this is exactly what I think everyone really came here for. I know that it's what I came here for. All right, Mike's back. Never mind.
Fire it at me.
Okay, so I'm going to give you the show. Give me yours. I've written all of my answers down for this, so we can compare after.
Okay. Are you going to write mine down, or should I write them down?
I'll write them down.
Okay.
All right. You ready?
I'm ready.
The Wire.
Which character would I want to be quarantined with the most from The Wire? This is a toss-up. Because I want to say Freeman, because I'd look at his cool little art projects that he'd be making all day long, but he'd probably get annoyed with me. So I'm going to say, what's your guy?
I've got lots of guys.
Buddy.
Bunk?
Bunk, probably.
You're going with Bunk.
I'd drink with Bunk and hang out and talk shit, probably.
Cool. Mad Men.
Oh, who do I want to be quarantined with most for Mad Men? Oh, man. January Jones.
Betty.
Yeah.
Young
Maybe.
Pope.
The Young Pope. Who do I want to be quarantined with? The Young Pope. Lenny Belardo. For sure.
Oh my god. True Detective.
Oh god. Not Matthew McConaughey. He'd be insufferable. Who do I want to be quarantined with from True Detective? I'm gonna go with Del Toro. I'm like down to party
Curb.
right now. Huh? Curb Your Enthusiasm?
Yeah.
Cheryl?
Succession.
Those, like, I'm gonna be quarantined with any of them. They have, like, nothing to offer as roommates. I guess, what's Roman's girlfriend?
Jerry.
No, the other one.
Oh, his girlfriend. Right.
No, the one that, no, wait. Yeah, Jerry. Yeah.
Jerry.
She seems like she'd be fun to hang out.
Downton.
Huh?
Downton Abbey.
Downton? Man, that doesn't sound like a fun time either. I'd probably have to pick someone downstairs. Because they would, help around the house and stuff a little too.
Who's your pick?
Fuck. The main butler guy.
Carson.
But he'd be my butler.
Sure. What's next?
Did you give yourself time to think about these?
I've had days to think about them.
Oh, so I have to do mine.
Yeah.
Plenty of time to think.
It's just funny. Arrested Development.
That's a rough one. I'm gonna go with the mom.
Lucille.
Yeah.
The Deuce?
The Deuce? Woof. I don't like any of those choices.
You gotta pick one.
The Deuce would not be a fun world.
I feel like there's such an obvious answer that you're not picking.
Maggie Gyllenhaal.
Big Little Lies. Dead or Alive. Who?
The younger girl's name?
Oh my god. The one with the kid?
Yeah.
Oh my god,
She's the, most chill of those characters.
Why can't we think of her name? Seinfeld.
Seinfeld? I guess Elaine. I'm picking the women for most of these. I'd rather hang out with a woman than
Yeah,
Elaine.
right. That's part of the game. Absolutely fabulous.
It's becoming more clear as I'm doing these. Fab, Patsy, man.
Patsy.
For sure. I went from wanting people who want to party to women who want to party.
Yeah. I think you did. And you know what? We match up pretty good.
Okay, let me hear yours.
So The Wire, you said Bunk, I said Kima.
Okay.
Bunk's my favorite character.
Kima and her wife?
I just feel like Kima's gonna take care of me, and she's gonna.
Kima's gonna put up with your shit, man.
Well, but she's gonna lay the ground rules, and we're gonna be straight. We're gonna be good.
Okay.
Mad Men, I also picked Betty Draper.
Okay.
Young Pope
is gonna like bake a cake while we're hanging out.
I mean, Betty's Betty. What do we got? Young Pope. I went Voyello instead of Lenny.
What are you gonna get into? Are you gonna get into watching soccer?
Yeah. He's just gonna like take me back on like a fucking journey. Like
his soccer team.
Yeah, he's gonna show me some old videos. He's like, this was like, like he's got stuff like saved on a VHS, and he's got like really expensive wine. He's gonna pull out, and he's gonna leave me the fuck alone.
I just think Lenny and I would be like, have some rad conversations, be like homeboys for life by the time we get out.
You want to fuck Lenny in quarantine?
No. I want to fuck Voyello in quarantine. Come on. Let's not reduce ourselves to
what's next? True Detective, we both went Velcoro.
Yeah. He'd have, like, he'd party.
Yeah, and he'd sleep a lot.
Yeah, he would. He'd be hungover a lot, and then he'd be like, let's party! I'd be a fucking mess by the time I came out of this, but you know what?
I've struggled. I thought about going with Rachel McAdams' character because I loved her, but I just couldn't remember the name.
I just can't justify making all of them like the lead woman of whatever show you make.
Yeah, exactly. Curb, you went Cheryl, which I thought about. I said Leon.
Leon would be a good choice too, man.
Yeah.
Leon's a good roommate.
Yeah, exactly.
You would have to like take care of him. So.
I thought about saying Jeff because I just think he's so funny.
I just think I'd have a shot with Cheryl. I think if I've had good experiences with older women.
All right. Succession, we both said Jerry.
Yeah, that seems obvious.
Arrested Development, we both also said Lucille.
Yeah, I almost went with the daughter, and I was like, Lucille would be more fun. She'd party, and that's like and then isn't Patsy the next one?
Exactly.
Yeah, so we went Lucille. There's a clear progression of thought.
Well, no. We shift. Yeah, we both said Patsy on AbFab. That's anyone who knows us knows that we were both gonna pick Patsy.
Sure.
The Deuce. You said Maggie Gyllenhaal's character. I think Black Frankie's the answer here.
Yeah, Black Frankie would be a cool roommate.
You'd still be getting into some business.
Yeah, you're right.
In quarantine.
Yeah. You pick like good buddies or just like cool ladies.
Right.
Small ladies.
Downton Abbey, you said Carson. I went Lady Mary.
Yeah, I should have gone with Lady Mary in retrospect. But would that include Carson cleaning up after? Because he's so in love with her?
That's a good point. Big Little Lies. Why can we not remember the name of...
We both went with her?
No, I went Bonnie.
Who's Bonnie?
Zoe Kravitz.
Oh, I should have done that. And this is like why you had time to reflect, and I'm like trying to remember any characters' names even.
I don't know why we can't remember. Shailene Woodley's the actress. I can't think of the name of that character. We're terrible at doing a TV podcast. All right, and then the last one. The last one was Seinfeld. You went Elaine and I went Kramer. I don't know.
I almost went Kramer because I was like, that will be entertaining. But I was like, I bet I'd get sick of him. And he'd start saying some racist shit or something. I'd be like, I can't fuck around with that, dude.
You might be right.
I might be.
Well, there you go. There's a little game. There was a little game for you, for the audience.
Wow, we're gonna play games now on this show.
I love it. Let's do a flyover on the first couple episodes of these shows.
Yeah, we watched the first episode of Run, and we watched the first 3 episodes of Mrs. America, although I kind of was half asleep by the time I got to the third one. It wasn't the show, it was just the time of day.
Sure. I really like both of these things. I think that the full season arc of these two things are gonna give me something.
Yeah, they're both mini-series, are they not?
I think so. I can't imagine that the Mrs. America thing is gonna go
Mrs.
beyond
America,
this.
I know, doesn't have any intention of going into... It's only 9 episodes.
It's only 9 episodes. So this is gonna be a 3-week, 3-episode block kind of thing.
Or I don't know. That'd be nice if they did that, because they know we want content now.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, I don't
have energy for a week-to-week thing right now. I need to binge watch something. So I'm wondering, do you want to talk about Mrs. America first?
Yeah, let's do that one first, because it's a little more fresh.
If that's not gonna run out through, like, if they're gonna do like what the Deuce does and jump years ahead, because they're talking about this. And I, again, haven't done my research on the history of this, but they're talking about how they have 6 years to get this bill passed.
Right, and I think in the first, at least those first 3, it does at least jump a year at a time occasionally.
Yeah, it's skipping a little bit for me.
Yeah, I also have not done my backup research on it either, but
I know that a lot of those actresses are playing real women. I looked up the Wikipedia, and Margot Martindale and Tracy Ullman, they're all based.
It really is a kind of murderer's row of actresses in big roles. Rose Byrne playing Gloria Steinem and Cate Blanchett.
Yeah, they've got a good ensemble of actresses playing like this ensemble of characters and thinkers and
yeah. Uzo Adoba, who most people probably know from Orange Is the New Black, playing the first. She's the first black presidential candidate of all time, I think. Correct?
Yeah, she was the first woman to run for president.
But also the first black person to run for president. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, and she is, because they hit you, I think, I think that's a real old clip of her as that character's kind of being introduced, and the story kind of explodes once that character gets there. Once you get away from Cate Blanchett's kind of like Republican route part of the story, and you get to that ERA party with Gloria Steinem and all those characters, you're like, whoa, this is so alive.
Well, and to clarify for anyone who doesn't really know what the show's about, it's about the women's rights movement in the 70s and the Equal Rights Amendment, but it's all really kind of coming from the perspective of Cate Blanchett, who plays this real woman who was kind of the housewives against feminism movement. And
yeah.
She was married to a conservative senator.
Played by John Slattery.
Played by Roger Sterling. So yeah, I think that's an interesting angle for them to take on the whole thing, because her character is like vehemently against all of this, and then they weigh that against all of these feminist women who are, trying to get this bill pushed.
Right, and in the second episode, it shifts away from her a little bit, and you mostly focus on Gloria Steinem, who was like the poster child of the entire thing. Yeah.
Font or whatever. Yeah. And Ms. Magazine and all that.
Right. I really do. This is kind of one of those things that we talked about with wanting Simon and Pelicanos to just like write the history of America. This feels
like one of those stories.
Yeah, this is an American period that I am instantly enveloped into, like 60s, 70s, early 80s. Like I am there every time.
Yeah, absolutely. The music in this is probably the best since the Deuce, because I just love that era.
I actually have I'm glad that you brought this up, because it reminds me of something. Because every once in a while, I think that this show, which I really do love, has some kind of clunky, some clunk moments, and the soundtrack is kind of one of them, because I think that show is like not met a cliche, overplayed track that it has not met.
Which one?
Most of the needle drops in that show, I'm like,
yeah, they're picking the A sides.
Yeah, and that's one of the things about the Deuce that I always appreciated. Like, I mean that's not the Blondie song that you expect to hear.
A-sides that I like, you know.
They are songs that I like, but
I'm a huge fan of like those kind of disco funk songs that they're picking.
Me too, but I love it when someone pulls the Curtis Mayfield B-side or something, and you're like,
it's more of a predictable soundtrack, you know.
Yeah.
Like I could probably guess a few songs that'll pop up.
Yeah, right.
I still like that era of music, man. You know.
Oh, of course. I mean, that's one of the signature draws anytime.
With you about those being like the obvious picks, though.
Yeah.
You know?
It kind of reminds me of like watching like Detroit Rock City or something. And you're like, well, I'm pretty sure I know what they're gonna play.
Well, I expect nothing but Kiss music if I'm watching Detroit Rock City.
I guess it's a tough transition coming out of High Fidelity, where you're like, oh, great choice.
Yeah, we've been spoiled.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I really am intrigued to see the rest of this, because I think that
I like the way it's shaping out. Like, there are things that are happening right now that remind me of this. Like, in the third one, I think they're arguing about whether or not they should back the Democrat to save the votes, as opposed to backing I can't remember her name now.
The name of the candidate, I can't remember her name either.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's so like jarringly prescient. The releasing of delegates and stuff.
Yeah, the last couple weeks we've been dealing with all the Bernie Biden fallout, and everyone's endorsing Biden now. Elizabeth Warren and Bernie, everybody's on board, and there's that dilemma that they're kind of going through as far as their organization, trying to figure out who to endorse and where to prioritize and that kind of thing. Because it's like any other kind of movement. Like, there's not one philosophy everyone's ascribing to. Everyone's kind of got a mixed bag of how they think things should be.
Right.
And it gets squirrely, you know.
Yeah, squirrely is the word.
It's funny because they talk about how they don't want to alienate the housewives, and then one of the girls is like, "Fuck the housewife," you know, like they have perspectives on how to deal with that. Like, I think Elizabeth Banks plays their only Republican.
God, that's right. Elizabeth Banks is in it. There's so many actresses that you're like, ah.
Yeah, great. It's a great ensemble. I think that's going to be a really good show.
I do too.
It's going to get attention.
Sorry, I can cut this out.
Yeah. They released the first three. I don't know how they're going to release the rest of them, but everyone's got time to get on board with that and kind of watch along with this.
Oh, sure. And I think that's a really good, it is a cathartic view on American politics in this very specific moment that we're in right now.
We live in an age where a lot of people kind of don't know much about the history of feminism.
Right. So much of this was kind of blowing my mind, and I was like, oh, God.
And this is like, you know,
not as good as I thought it was.
There's been waves of this, you know, history. There's a lot to it. It's more to unpack than just kind of memes and tropes and stereotypes.
Absolutely. All of that segues easy into us talking about Run, which I think you liked. I think is about as well as I did in terms of it being really promising.
Yeah, I think it looks like it's going to be a really cool series, and that's one that Phoebe Waller-Bridge is a producer on, but it's her. I guess she runs the theater. I didn't know this.
I didn't know that either until you said that to me.
So the girl that runs the theater with her is the one who wrote it.
Is she directing it as well?
Not the first episode.
Not the first episode. But I mean, it is. I mean, it stands to. We should say all of the things that we're talking about are like written, produced, and directed by women, and it's like, it's so good that people are home right now to see all of these things getting made. That
Yeah, and we deserve a pat on the back for talking about them.
Oh my God.
This show looks like it's kind of a genre mix up between like a romance and a thriller, or like, you know, it's like very intriguing.
Yeah, it reminds me of
it's very romantic setup.
yeah, it's like After Sunset and The Italian Job or something like that.
Right. Yeah. So the setup is that these two people have had some kind of, and it's not really established.
No, we're gonna spend 8 episodes unpacking whatever it is.
Yeah, they're really gonna parse it out. You can tell, like, the information is that what they know about each other and what we know about them is pretty limited. But they made an agreement. If one of them texts run, they both meet at this train station. If the other one texts run back, so this woman's having clearly burned out with her life, and she receives this text, and she responds back run, and she goes and she meets this man, and it's this Irish guy who's been in a million things lately.
Donald Gleason.
And he's been in like a lot of sci-fi stuff. He was in like Ex Machina and Star Wars.
Oh, that's right. He was an Ex Machina. I kind of forget that. Yeah.
Yeah. He's a good actor though, and
he is, and Merritt Weaver, I think, is also a pretty
and
pretty excellent actress.
I can't put my finger on what I recognize her from.
I mean, she's in a bunch of stuff. She most recently she was in Marriage Story.
Who'd she play in that?
She's Scarlett Johansson's sister.
That's right.
In the dancing with the divorce papers scene.
Yeah. When they're trying to figure out how to give it to him.
Right.
So the show doesn't really give you a ton of information in the first episode. It's kind of just, are they gonna
keep going?
Yeah. Are they gonna commit to seeing where this goes? And it's kind of us as viewers asking the same question. It's really a great pilot.
It is a good pilot. It's a great little short. And the thing I think that's definitely keeping my my hook in is, we know that Phoebe Waller-Bridge is a producer on it, and that she is gonna play a part later on in the series.
Yeah, she's gonna pop in. She's gonna do pop in, be charming and lovely.
It's kind of funny the way that we talk about her, because she's like made these 2 big shows where she is like just the primary focus, and your eyes are on her all the time, and the talk around her is so big. But actually seeing her in something else is pretty much non-existent.
Well, yeah, she really hasn't had that presence until Fleabag, because she's been a writer and she's been a producer and all these other things. So now she can be a cameo that you're like, oh, hey, look who it is.
Yeah, right. But I mean, it's also, I don't know. I find her performances so enticing that you're.
Oh, I know. She's one of those performers you and I are like huge fans of, and like very inspired by.
Oh, fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. She's the best.
Well, and her name is what got this show made. You know, I'm sure she's like an executive producer on it or whatever.
Yeah.
But Fleabag was like super, super successful. It beat out Game of Thrones for all those Emmys.
Did you never watch her show Crashing?
No, and I still haven't watched Killing Eve yet.
Oh my god, and Killing Eve is so good. But Crashing is on Netflix, and she's in it.
She's in it?
Yeah. Okay. And it's 6 episodes, and it's just fucking great.
Okay, cool.
It's a much lighter time than Fleabag. It's lighter fare.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't know if that was her whole thing or not.
You should watch that. It's really good. That's like spoon-fed great shit.
Well, and I've heard a lot of people say Killing Eve is great, which is also kind of an intrigue. It's about a hit woman or whatever.
I watched the first season of Killing Eve, and I loved it. Sandra Oh and Jodie Comer, the 2 main.
I like mixing. I like. When you put those elements of stories together, like Run Lola Run is one of my favorite old movies that I haven't seen.
Yeah, I know you're a big Lola Run guy.
That's a great there's a romantic thing to it, but it's really a thriller kind of.
Right.
Action intrigue shit.
Right.
Just that weird no man's land. Thriller is like a weird. When I was working at a bookstore, I didn't really know how to define that. It's not horror. It's not mystery. It's not action. It's some kind of something in between those.
Yeah, it exists differently in books, I think, than it does.
Yeah, because sometimes there'll be spy stories. There'll be
right. The espionage thing is a whole other genre.
Yeah, and Run seems like it's gonna have elements of that. There's secrets and there's some plotting and there's what the guy's motivation was and what he had going on before he hit her up.
Right.
Is still very shrouded.
Right.
That kind of cloak and dagger shit it's an interesting genre that
I'm here for.
It's hard to pin.
Right. Well, that seems like a good place to call it a night for the pod anyway. Yeah. Mike and I might have some more drinks after we get done, but
yeah, we might talk about all you viewers and
we're gonna talk about Chell personally.
It's funny because this is because now we're starting to do this through Zoom so we can see each other, and it's like a new element. I want to say things that on the pod, you want to hear it as opposed to me nodding.
That's all the same. It's really all the same. Sure. Go follow us on Hot Little Takes on Instagram or Twitter, or shoot us your questions or suggestions at hotlittleMailbag on AOL.com. Let's get it going, you guys.
Stay tuned because we're going to be hooking up with some people and we're going to have our first guests and we're going to be zooming everybody in and playing games and doing all sorts of crazy shit.
Fuck yeah.
Hot Little Takes.
We're coming for you.
Yeah, hide your moms.
All right. We'll call it there. Hold up.